This one requires some details, doesn't it? We see a face here. And some beautiful shadows. That's really the only reason I would want to do this, is because of those shadows. Bust of Patrick Andrew Collins. Promise I will know more about this statue. Surrounded by some very upset women. Arms crossed, defiance or unhappiness. But again, the only reason to do this is these beautiful shadows. Story has already been captured by the sculptor. So I am much more interested in beautiful shadow play. All right. We'll start with a light wash on our monument, highlighting here, getting gradually warmer and darker towards the bottom. Paint out those highlights to the left. And then we follow that with a lot of foliage behind. Let's give it a go. So to start, I'm using this flat brush, some yellow ochre, and I'll start sort of midway up, going right over all of the figures, but I'm adding water as I go higher. So by the time I reach here, there's a gradation at work. And as I come down a little lower, I'm going to add some pink to that. Into the steps. Again, they appear as dark colors, but they're going to dry pretty light. My goal here is to have a gradation in place, sort of transition, even in the lightest areas. Let this dry. And I think probably we start to work into the features. Features first. I think so. It'll be particularly helpful to see the features on this side. It's a more difficult part, but if we accomplish that a little bit, and we we can add shadows in the middle of the statue and then start to add the deep dark shadows, greens, browns, so forth beyond. But first stage is a little drawing and the placement of that gradation. All right, let's get started on this guy. And my question is, do we start with a background or do we start by placing some strong darks in the features? I think probably easier to start with the background. Easier, more fun. Two good reasons. So we notice in the background there's some strong greens and browns. I'll start by mixing up some of my green color here using the ever famous Prussian green. A blue green, so because of that, I want to make sure to mix in plenty of yellow, cadmium yellow light. And of course, this will be my light green, and then into that green, we will mix more darker greens as well as some darker brown. There we go. Let's just do this puddle up here. And you see I'm using a big brush. That'll really help me to manage this. In addition to that, I'm going to mix up some sepia, which I have up here. The sepia is going to go into the trunks of the trees. We have sepia here also. Put in some red with my sepia, and red means burnt sienna. Anyway, just give myself some color to work with. And I can start with this application here. I notice that the green is a little darker on top and becomes lighter as I work down. So I'll try to make use of that. My main ambition here is to get close and start to define the figures. Get that to nice cadmium yellow. Maybe it's enough to do one side at a time. Probably so. So let's switch now to a smaller brush. Taking from that same green mixture and looking at our drawing, trying to block in the general movement of the figure, the general shape of the figure. Quite a bit darker near the edge of the figure, so I'll try to accommodate that. Kind of a swooping shape here. This comes down, meets the head of the next figure. So we gradually inch in on this figure here. Go under the chin. Try to catch that movement in the arms. Let's keep the left side kind of wet so that we can continue to manipulate that. Just try to get as close as I can and continue downward. Good, so let's extend this outward a little bit. Get some broken strokes up here, lost and found edges, I like that. And then some splatter, of course. Yummy, yummy. Let's put a little red in our splatter. And then let's place the trunk of our tree. So I have my sepia here. I'm going to add a bit more burnt sienna. And I'm going to bring it into this area. Beautiful soft edges. A little more blue into the tree. Oops. I might have cut off too much there. I did. Shoot. Oh, I'm gonna have to adjust my drawing to remedy. I think I'll keep it like that. We'll add a couple of lines back here into the wet area, suggesting more trees. And I'll start to build this up as well. So I'm having to adjust this on the fly. Recovery would start in the same manner with a lot of light green over here. Means a lot of cadmium yellow. I'm going to take this close to the sculpture. Luckily, this area is more in shadow, so I can get away with more, so to speak. I'll either add blue to my mixture or a little bit of brown. Definitely splatter. And it'll come down. A little bit of red into the green. And that's plenty. Wanted a passive background. Just a little off center. Shoot. I'm starting to do some of the architectural elements here. Okay. I'm going to put in some of the shadows now. It's pretty dry here. And I'm taking this as a practice because I think I've already flubbed it up. But let's see. So I'll use this strong guy here. Put a strong shadow underneath. The side of the face a little bit. Defining that mustache. Oh my god, what a great mustache. Just painting the shadows. Really good exercise. Some lines underneath here. Same color. Trying to get some symmetry back. Okay, and I'm going to go with a little more sepia in this figure here. We see the shoulder. We don't see much else really of the face. Some nice just focusing on the highlights. It's a little broad-handed, I know. But that's enough. Okay, let's look at this figure. More detail on this figure. It's about right. Need to take away a little bit here. All right, let's continue. You know, a little bit of a recovery. All right, a little bit more. All right, dry, and then we'll put some dappled shadows here. Some shadows climbing the sculpture. So for my shadow color, I'll use blue primarily, ultramarine blue, with some of my leftovers here. And I want it to be a pretty strong shadow, stronger than we see here. Bit of sepia, bit of ultramarine blue. And I'm going to start by wetting the whole area of this statue. What is this? Oh, let's see, it's supposed to be his chest. The internal struggle. All right, let's go. I'm going to wet this with water. Naturally, my water has a bit of green with it. Come on. It'll dry pale, I'm sure. All right, now to the shadows. And we'll just do some soft shadows coming in across here. This. Now the shadows tend to follow the form. So make a curved shadow here, curved shadow here, here, here. And some random shadows across here. And that's about as far as I'll go. I wish I could get this line back. Let's do a little splatter. Like that. Good enough. Some last details, some strong lines. For example, here. These lines help to define the planes where one plane is meeting another plane. Also, a little bit, they create some transparency within the shadows. But you notice that I don't like completely continuous lines. I like to break them up a little bit. Now let's go back here. And state this once more. Haven't used white yet, but I think I might. Hmm. Okay. I'll sit with this for a little bit before I decide to do anything to it.